So now back to work. So it's absolutely chucking down rain today, and I was hoping to go up on the roof and strip off the battens and the felt and start taking down the rafters that are up there, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I think for safety's point of view, what's the point in going out and getting soaked and slipping off the roof and hurting myself? So for the moment, I'm not going up there. If it dries up, maybe it's a different thing, but there's plenty of other things to get on with here. But while I'm here and while the rain is here, I just wanted to show you outside the floors. In the extension, for example, and it's one of the reasons why I'm taking out all the floors in this house is that they're not level. And I'll show you, and you'll actually be able to see there on the camera, you can see that the floors aren't level at all. And the water there, the rain's actually helping to show how unlevel they are. They're all over the place. So they're coming out because they're not level, they're coming out because there's no insulation, and they're coming out because there's no damp-proof membrane underneath them in the first place. So it's just a disaster. But that's the reason why we're taking them out. And it's actually one of the jobs that I'm going to start today. I'm going to start here in the old section where it's a little bit dry. I'm going to start taking it out of the floor, but that's what we'll do. We'll crack on with it. So one of the other things I've been busy doing is building a cabinet for the ESB here. And what I've actually done is, even though I did it wrong just there we go, we built that a bit right. I left the bottom of this cabinet open so you can bring in any cables up through the bottom there that you need to power. But while I'm working away, you can shut this door over. And that should shut. And that way, all the meters and sockets are protected, so if any rubble falls down, they won't damage the power supply. So it's just a good little idea. It cost a couple of euro. I needed some plywood for another project and I had a bit left over, so that's what it is. I put a bit of felt just on top in case there'd be any drip of water would come down. It'll just run off the top there and just keep everything dry and safe. So another little thing that I've done along the way. So we must get cracking with this Kango hammer because it's not going to do itself, so I must get organised. So now we're going to set up the Kango again, and it's something I like to do, and it says to do with the instructions. It's just put a bit of grease on the chisel just where it moves through the Kango hammer. So I meant to buy grease and I forgot. There's still a little bit left here. There you go, that should do it. And it doesn't have to be out of a grease gun, it can just be out of a tub of grease. You could get in the motor factors or a hardware store. So that's it now. I'll just help the tool move and protect the chisel because you don't want to break it or crack it because it'll just delay you. Now, that goes in there and it's locked in, and compliments of the local shop, a bit of tissue to get rid of the extra grease. So now we're all ready to go, so I'm going to start in the corner here and start taking out this floor bit by bit. That's starting to come out nicely. Once you make a little corner, you can work around that and start coming out. It's not hard work. You can stand up straight. You don't need to be pressing down on this very hard. Just keep a little light pressure on the back of it so that it makes good contact with the floor. But otherwise, let the machine do the work. And with both hands, that's not too heavy to lift. It is reasonably heavy, but not too heavy. And the thing is, if you're going to be taking out all these floors, don't put your body under pressure, especially me with my back, I can't manage it. So just take it paced, take breaks, take your time, and you'll get through it. But this concrete is actually quite soft, and it's not very thick, so it's going to come out nicely. And I can already see that there's hardcore underneath the floor, and I'm going to have to dig this floor out to quite a height to accommodate the new concrete and insulation and heating and that sort of thing. So that's it. So we're just going to go bit by bit, and I'm going to turn off the camera for a minute while I'm working away to keep it from getting dusty, and I'll turn it back on there in about an hour's time, and we'll see how we've got on. we're starting to get somewhere. It's about an hour later, and from when I was talking to you, and we're starting to make good progress. The Kango's getting a little hot there, so it could do with a bit of a break, and so could I. But we've got nearly 3/4 of this room broken up. When you're Kangoing, you don't have to take out each piece as you go. You just need to crack the concrete, because afterwards it's very easy just to reach down and pull out a piece, and it does all pull away very easily. Underneath the concrete here, I've got there's hardcore stones, and that sort of thing. So I do need to dig that down further, but at the moment I'm not quite sure as to how far down I have to dig. I need to put in a modern floor here, so I need to have the damp-proof membrane, and as far as I know there's a concrete sub-base in that, then there's insulation, then there'll be the underfloor heating and a screed on top of that if I'm not mistaken, but I actually have to go and take advice on that. So this is one of the situations where I am actually going to go and talk to an engineer as to what I need here and what depth I need from the finished floor surface to dig down to. So that's one of the things on the list to do. But I can do no harm at the moment, since it's raining outside, in breaking up this floor surface as it is now. So yeah, so it's going well. So I'm going to take a bit of a break now and let this cool down a little bit. Now it's done well, like I've no problem with this machine. It is a bit hot, but not overly so. And I mean, it has been going continuously now for about an hour. I read the instruction manual and I couldn't see anything in the instruction manual where it says there's a restriction on the amount of time that you do use it. But I think a bit of common sense comes in there. If the machine's getting hot, give it a bit of a rest and let it cool down a small bit. So we'll do that for a few minutes there. So I'm going to take about 15 minutes and let it cool down. Then I'm going to finish off the room, and I'll try and get a better view on the camera there later on. It's a little hard to see, but I have the old fireplace taken off the wall, and I've most of the floor broken down here. So I'll take the camera off in a minute and then lower it a small bit, just so you can see the floor all broken up. And I'm also going to do a little test patch here. I'm going to dig down about a foot in just one area, just to see how difficult it is, and then I know at that stage then that's all I have to do there. I don't have to go breaking more of a surface down. I just have to dig it out. Now it's a fair bit of digging, but yet again, slow and steady wins the race. So that's where I leave it for the moment. I'm going to have a break. I'll be back, I'll finish out the room, and we'll get the camera down then. So there we go. That's this room all Kangoed up, and it's gone quite well. I think this Kango hammer I got in Aldi that I talked about in episode 2 is really holding up, and it's done quite a bit of work outside as well. And it does make easy going of breaking this concrete up. Some of it's quite thin, but other bits are quite thick. So it's getting through it regardless, and this room is now ready to dig out. I don't have a skip outside at the moment. I just recently sent the 4th one away for processing, so I don't have one outside. So I'm just going to leave this rubble here. Breaking it up is a job in itself, and it's something to be conscious of as well when you're using any tool that creates vibration on your body. That is putting a stress and a vibration through your body. And with things like a Kango hammer, you must be a bit careful with it. I think as a carpal tunnel syndrome, I think you can get from using tools that vibrate all the time. So take a rest. Maybe don't do the whole house in one day. Break it down. Do it over a couple of days. So that would be my bit of advice. Is just take it handy, do a bit, and then stop, do something different. So what I'm going to do next here is this whole room is broken up. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to take a little hole, just see can I get down a foot. I'd say a foot should be good enough for the depth that I need to go to. So if that's easy, then I know that the job for digging out won't be so hard when it comes to it. So I'm just going to do that now. So now we're down here on the floor. As I say, I've spent my whole life crawling, so why stop now? Anyway, I'm going to start here because it's as good a place as any. I'm just going to see if I can get down roughly about a foot. As I said, I don't know how far down I do have to go. So I'm just going to start slowly taking away a bit of this, and we'll dig down and see what we can get to. So All that's coming out nice and easy. It's just stone. Yeah, I think this is going to be easy enough. If you do find when you're cutting across the floor with the Kango hammer, you're finding it difficult to break the concrete, what you can always do is you can cut a seam through the centre of the floor. So right up the middle of the room, cut a seam. And what will happen then is, if you start kangoing from that point out to the edge of the room, it'll make it easier to break. I'm working my way down there. I'm going to need a little bit of a hand just to get the bigger stones out from down here, so I'm just going to set up the Kango there again. And we'll just take a little bit more out. Yeah, so that's good. Well, now that answers that. I'll bring the camera up a little bit just so you can see. Okay. So what we've done here is I've just dug down the floor a little bit, and there was the concrete, and underneath the concrete were some smaller stones. Underneath that, the bigger stones, and underneath that even bigger stones. So there we go. But underneath that, there's nothing but earth. So this will be quite easy to dig out and move out. But what the best way to do is, if you want to dig out something like this, is make a hole in one corner of the room to the depth you want to go, and sort of work out from that. And you find it easier to scoop the rubble into the hole and shovel it out, and keep working that way. And if you work that way across the room, it'll make it quite easy to get all the rubble out of the ground. And also, if you use a level, you can sort of work your way across the room, keeping it some bit level, so that you know the very base of the floor is level enough. So the next step for me now is to keep going kangoing throughout the house over a couple of days and make some progress. But what I do need to do is need to go and talk to my engineer and see how deep do I need to go from the finished floor level in order to reinstate a proper floor with damp-proof membranes and all that sort of thing. So that's how far we've got for the moment, and I think a bit of lunch is in order now at this stage, so I'm going to go and do that, and I'll do a bit more after lunch maybe, depending on how I'm feeling. As I said, you have to bear in mind the vibration of the machine, so we'll see how we go. So that's how far we got for the moment. We'll see you after lunch. Well, by now you're probably all used to Wolfie, our health and safety advisor, and I know it's a bit of a joke, but it's just to keep things light-hearted. But we do think about safety. Anyway, Wolfie said, when you're kangoing a floor, always look around you while you're using the Kango hammer or any tool that vibrates, and check the walls and stuff as you go. And if you start seeing a crack appearing, you need to stop doing what you're doing. As I said, it's a tool that puts vibration through the floor and potentially through the building as well. And it can loosen structures. So if your structure you're working in isn't that safe or isn't that sound, and you start using a tool that vibrates, it could start to crack walls or other structures, which could pose a collapse risk. So do look around when you're working and just make sure that nothing's about to fall down on top of you, and always keep safety in mind. Is that right, Wolfie? Good boy. I think he could do with a coffee, so we're going to go and get one now. So I'm back after lunch, and I've decided I'm going to carry on taking out some more floors. So I'm going to do this little hallway space here in the front of the house, just beside the front door. I just want to take a minute to say, you know, I do say in my videos, thank you for watching and all that, and thanks for subscribing. And I know everybody on YouTube says that, for me it really does make a difference, because right now Dr. Dave, or Demolition Dave as he's called, isn't here right now to give me hands, so I'm here on my own. But I do have that feeling and that sense that what I'm doing here isn't lonely, because there will be people watching it and there will be people seeing it, and that's you guys, and you're very welcome to be part of this with me and see what I'm doing. So I do appreciate you being there, I really do. So anyway, enough of the soppy stuff. I'm going to start cracking on. I'm going to knock out this floorway here, and I'm going to start progressing into the sitting room as well, because we may as well keep going. The weather's not great outside still, and there's no point to take that risk of going on the roof. And I had another thought as well. I thought if I do a bit of this floor, maybe get a skip, I could dig out this rubble while it's dry, which would be easier than digging it out if it's wet, if I take the roof off. So I think I'll just leave the felt and the battens on just for another little bit, just till I take this the rubble and the waste out of the floors here first. So I think that's the plan for the moment. I think it's okay to change your plans as you go along slightly, even though you should have a general idea of what you're doing before you go crazy doing something that isn't a plan, because you can lose your way. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. Let's get cracking. Now, that's the hallway all cangled out. It's only a small little room and it didn't take long. But this really is a great machine. It's doing a great job of breaking the concrete. And it's, I'm not sweating, I'm not working hard. It's easy, it's good. It's a good machine, I'm very happy with it. So I'm just going to start working my way into the sitting room now. And the safety glasses, the gloves, the steel toe cap boots, and ear defenders in there, just to save your hearing a bit, because it is quite loud. So I'm going to carry on. So here we are in the sitting room, and I've dug a bit of a trench just across here. It's about 2 foot wide and it's running the width of the room, and I'm starting to make good progress here. I like to run in runs, in rows across the sitting room, because I find it works better. If you do this way, instead of just taking a bit here and a bit there, you start making progress and the concrete falls away a bit easier. The Kango hammer is doing the majority of the work, but my back is getting sore because you do still have to lift that weight up each time. Now I can work with my back straight, which is wonderful, it's taking a lot of the pressure off, but I do have to watch things, otherwise I'll end up in the flat of my back for a couple of days, and that can be painful and also waste a lot of time. So yeah, so I'm going to keep going with this for just another little bit, and then I might do something different. So there now, I cut that channel across the back behind me, and then I cut one down the side, and I started coming across the room, and it's been, once you cut those 2 channels, it is actually quite easy coming across the room. So that's as far as I've got there. My wrists are a little tired now from putting up with the vibration that comes off this machine. It obviously is a factor, and as far as I know, actually, even if the machine can do it, I think there's a safe, how would you put it, a safe exposure time that you can be given as an employee and using one of these machines, and I don't think it's all that long. I'd say it's probably somewhere like an hour and a half now that I think about it, which I definitely have succeeded at this stage, so, or exceeded should I say. So I think it's time to call it a day on this machine for the day, but I have made good progress. I've about 2/3 of this room done, I have the room next door done, and I have the hallway done as well, and obviously that's just broken, it still needs to be dug out, but it's a good step in the right direction, and especially considering it was a rainy day today, there's no point in trying to push water uphill. Just go with it, work with it, and do something inside. So it's not quite the end of the day yet. So what I'm going to do is a few little jobs upstairs. There's a bit of neatening up to do to make it easier for the next step. The next step obviously is, after the floor is here, to take the roof off, and after the roof is off then it's to take down the chimney breast that's here, and there's a number of reasons for that which we'll go into when it's time to go through that, when we start doing the job. So we've reached the end of the day here at Ivy Cottage, and as you can see, Wolfie's taking safety to the extreme, and I think I've just about had enough of him for the day, so thankfully it is the end of the day. But one of the things I like to do when I'm putting away my kangaroo hammer is I just like to clean off the old grease, and if you take that bit off, any dust and dirt that's trapped around the chisel is removed, and then it's ready for the next time. So that's it. So all the floors are broken up. We've got that far. We've a bit more to do, but it's good progress. So from me here at Ivy Cottage and Wolfie, goodbye and see you next time. Keep subscribing, keep pressing the notification button, and you'll be notified of the new videos, and we really do appreciate you watching. Thank you and good night.